This
Agenda a little
conference will
bigger.
now be recorded.
Ryan, can you make the agenda a little bit bigger?
Does that work?
It's kind of small.
Is that any
I
bigger?
can try though. All right, I'll just lean in. Everyone ignore me leaning in, okay? So anyways, that's better.
Sorry.
I don't want to get creepy now, right in the beginning of the meeting. I'm just kidding. All right, so welcome everyone to the Montachusett MMPO meeting of May 21st. First item on the agenda is introduction, so I'll have Brian do the roll, please.
Okay, we have Stephen Wolfel representing Mass DOT Secretary and CEO Montachusett Nut.
Steve Wolfel, representing Secretary and CEO of MassDOT, Monica Tippett here.
Ann Sullivan representing Mass DOT Highway Division Administrator Jonathan Gulliver.
Ann Sullivan, Project Development Engineer, District 3, representing MassDOT Highway Division Administrator Jonathan Gulliver.
Liz Murphy Fitchburg.
Here.
Mark Pamarini Leominster.
Here.
Glenn Eaton MRPC.
Here.
George Kahali Mart.
Present.
Abby Arpano Subregion 2.
Here.
And Brian Keating Subregion 4.
Here.
Okay, thanks everyone. And I will also mention our ex officio member here, Bob Swartz, the chair of the Montachusett Joint Transportation Committee.
All right, thanks, Brian. Thanks, everyone. Welcome again. We're on agenda item 2, public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the MPO today? All right, not seeing any. We'll move to agenda item 3, which is approval of the April 16th, 25 minutes. Can I get a motion, a second to approve, please?
I make a motion to accept it as presented.
Thank you, George. Is there a second?
I'll second. Ann Sullivan.
Thanks, ma'am. Any questions or comments or changes to the minutes? All right, seeing none. Brian, you want to read the roll?
Steve Wolfel, Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ann Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Liz Murphy Fitchburg.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini Leominster.
Yes.
Glenn Eaton MRPC Chair.
Yes.
George Kahali Mart.
Yes.
And now I see who came on after introductions. Brian Croto, Subregion 1.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
And Brian Keating, Subregion 4.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. Thank you, Brian. We'll now move on to agenda item 4, which is the 2025 to 29 TIP bunch of actions. So I'll turn it over to Brian.
Okay, so hopefully you can see on the screen the handouts. I'm doing it a little bit different than I have in the past in terms of how I'm sharing it. So I hope that's clear to everyone. So we have 2 proposed actions related to the current 2025 to 29 TIP today. First off is what we released for public comment at April's meeting. Amendment number 2, we discussed this last month regarding a number of different projects, and really the catalyst of this was project 609213, which is that's been the topic of discussion going back a few months related to the TIP development. If you remember this project, we don't anticipate it being ready for federal fiscal year 2025. So we're proposing via this amendment to move it back 1 year to 2026, which is also reflected on the draft TIP. And in its place, we'll move in from another section, project 609411, Pittsburgh Twin Cities Rail Trail Construction Phase 2. Also a part of this amendment, we'd like to add a discretionary grant awarded to the city of Gardner. They were awarded a build grant for a downtown mobility study with a value of $1.2535 million. It's federal money, therefore it's required to be reflected on the regional TIP. So that is also part of this amendment. The comment period lasted from April 25th through May 16th. We did not receive any comments during the period. We did, however, review it with the Joint Transportation Committee last week. Their recommendation to the MPO is to endorse as is staff. So that's what we're looking for a motion for today.
All right, thanks, Brian. Can I get a motion, a second, to endorse amendment number 2?
So moved, Dan Sullivan.
Thanks, Ann. Second.
George Kahale, second.
All right, any questions on amendment 2? Brian. All right, Brian, you want to read the roll?
Steve Wolfo, Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ann Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Liz Murphy, Fitchburg.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
Glenn Eaton, MRPC.
Yes.
George Kahale, Mart.
Yes.
Brian Croto, Subregion 1.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
And Brian Keating, Subregion 4.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And we also have another proposed action today as well.
All right, thanks everyone for that. Brian, keep going.
Okay, this is simple. This is adjustment number 4 we're proposing. Another discretionary grant awarded, in this case, to MART. They received a community transit grant to purchase 11 cutaway type transit vans. Again, we're required to carry this on the tip. It wasn't previously listed on there because it wasn't awarded previously. We'd like to treat this as an adjustment, so that wouldn't necessarily mean the whole need for the public comment period. Staff recommends this, so that's what we'd like to do is propose a motion to adjust this discretionary community transit grant to MART onto the tip.
So just so I'm sure, Brian, do we need to, with the adjustments, are going up for public review, or is it we're just going to vote right now and it's done, right? I just want to be sure.
That's right. That's right. Adjustment would just be a vote now and it's done. If there's any desire to put this out as an amendment, which would require the public comment period, always welcome. But since it's it's non-controversial, it's basically just a grant award that came online, and there's a need to list it in the tip. We're suggesting an adjustment.
All right. So does someone want to make a motion, a second, to approve the adjustment? And then I can open to questions.
So move, Brian Croto.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Who is the second? Just so.
Logan Brees.
All right. Got that, Brian? All right. Any questions about the adjustment? All right, Brian, why don't you read the roll?
Okay, Steve Wolfo, Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ann Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Liz Murphy, Fitchburg.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
Glenn Eaton, MRPC.
Yes.
George Kahale, Mart.
Yes.
Brian Croto, Subregion 1.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
And now I see Logan Breeze, Subregion 3.
Yes.
Brian Keating, Subregion 4.
Yes.
Okay, thanks very much.
All right, Brian, is that the last item on agenda 4? Now we're moving to the new year, this year's current or the upcoming tip, correct?
Yeah,
All right.
that's correct.
All right, so we'll move on to agenda 5, which is a 2026 or 2030 tip. And this is the Brian show again. So take it away, Brian.
Okay, this is what we've been talking about for the last several months, the development of the federal fiscal year 26 through 30 tip. We put this out for public comment at the April meeting. The comment period lasted the same as the previous amendment we just discussed. It opened April 25th, closed at the end of business last Friday, May 16th. It was available on our website. We emailed it out to our lists. In general, we've been promoting this over the last few months. So today, what we'd like to do is propose a motion to endorse this. First off, however, I'd like to go over the comments that were received during the comment period and answer any questions related to those. So we received 2 comments. The first is from Mass DOT Office of Transportation Planning, and these should have been in the they were in the handout folder as well. So this is kind of what their feedback looked like. If you look at the column review item, that's kind of like an indication of a reference within the document, what they're referring to. and I'll read off the comment column, which is kind of what we're considering their official comments. The first comment, please consider including Mass DOT's recommended actions for discretionary grant during an active cycle. This is requesting basically clarification. We go into the document and we have a section on how we handle amendments and adjustments and everything there within. In the last few years, there's been a number of discretionary grants awarded in the region, mostly due to opportunities at the federal level. A number of communities received Safe Streets for All funding. We just discussed a build grant awarded to the city of Gardner. These are all federal monies, and they're required to be carried on the regional tip, really before money is allocated. So, and as I mentioned, they're non-controversial. They're basically grant awards. For clarification purposes, what we've done is taken Mass DOT's suggestion and made a change within the document, clarifying how we'll handle those, and that will be via administrative adjustment, unless the group wishes otherwise. So basically, that doesn't elevate to the amendment level where it requires a 21-day public comment period and come back the next month before it's actually reflected on the tip. The group will just essentially review these discretionary grants in real time and decide whether or not to adjust them on, or possibly if it's big enough or a little bit different, we can always opt to release it as an amendment as well. But so we'll make that clarification within the document. The next comment that they have, please note funding source acronyms. Basically, they're suggesting adding additional context to some of the funding sources that we reference within the document. We've added that context within the final document, and that'll be included going forward. The next two comments from Mass DOT Office of Transportation Planning are sort of the same. They say, please re-export transit STIP investment report to include additional information. Basically, the platform that we all use, Mass DOT, the MPOs, to view the information on these projects. We export project lists to include in either full documents or presentations, what have you. Within the draft tip for the transit section, we opted to not include the additional information section on the transit projects, really for formatting issues. It was very wide. It was tough to fit. All the projects stay the same, but they're recommending adding that additional information column basically within the final version, which we agree with. We'll do that. We've changed the formatting around to better represent that. And same with the comment below that. It's basically one and the same. Last comment from them is they've included a number of additional statewide highway and MBTA lists to add into an appendix of the tip. They don't affect any regional priorities that we've discussed here, but it's basically including more information within the final document. So those became available to us during the comment period. We plan on having a appendix displaying those statewide lists as well. So we'll make that change. So those are the comments from Mass DOT, Office of Transportation Planning. They're relatively minor. We agree with all of them. We'll make those changes. Ultimately they make it a more thorough document. The other comment that we received regarding the tip comes from the town of Templeton, the select board, regarding the Route 68 project, which, if you remember correctly, this has been a topic of discussion over the last few years. This project has moved back on the regional prioritized list. That's the list that the MPO has been discussing, where we have discretion on project placement. And the reason why this has moved back is because we've had concerns with the lack of progress with the design of the project. So in this past cycle, we've moved it to federal fiscal years 29 and 30 from where it previously was in 27 and 28. There's been some back and forth, some contact with town officials and Mass DOT District 2, and their consultant. Ultimately, the select board took it up as an item and opted to provide this comment letter. Basically, they're ensuring us that they're committed to the project, which is great to see. Hate to see these projects move back, but really we have to make the best decisions for project readiness. And as I mentioned, we've discussed this a lot over the past few years. So it's good to see that commitment from the town of Templeton. We'll include this in the comment section of the final version of the tip, and we thank them. Those are the two comments that were received during the comment period. We also reviewed this with the Joint Transportation Committee last week. Their recommendation is to endorse, which is also MPO staff's recommendation. So that's what we're looking for today.
You're muted, Steve.
All right. I have a cold, so I was trying not to be on. So it was caught. Bob, you have a question? Or Bob had his hand raised. I don't know if he wanted to talk or. All right. Does anyone have any questions for Brian? All right. Does someone want to make a motion in a second to approve and to endorse the tip?
So moved, Dan Sullivan?
George Kahali, second.
All right. Last call. Any questions? All right. Seeing none, Brian, you want to read the roll?
Steve Wolf on Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ian Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Liz Murphy, Fitchburg.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
Glenn Eaton, MRPC.
Yes.
George Kahali, Mart.
Yes.
Brian Croto, Subregion 1.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
Logan Bree, Subregion 3.
Yes.
And Brian Keating, Subregion 4.
Yes.
Okay, thanks very much. Steve, we also have a few different certifications to take care of related to the tip.
All right, Brian, why don't you do those all at once and we'll just do one vote for all of them combined?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so we just took a vote to endorse the tip. We also have some requirements, additional requirements, federal and state requirements to certify based on a few different things. So I'll go over these two certifications and we can take one vote at the end. And what we're looking for is a motion to certify this as well. So the first one of the two is essentially the certification of Montachusett Region MPO 3C transportation planning process. This is basically the MPO certifying that we have abided by a number of the guidelines and provisions and laws that are listed within here at the federal level. So staff has, is aware of this. We've determined that we have abided by these. We are making the recommendation for a motion to certify this. Additionally, we have some state requirements here. This is essentially indicating that we're abiding by, again, guidelines, laws, and provisions based in the Commonwealth's Global Warming Solutions Act. So again, staff is aware of these. We've taken all the necessary steps. We've determined that we are within certification, and we recommend MPO certifying this as well. And that's what we're looking for a motion for, is to endorse these two certifications.
All right, can I get a motion second to endorse both certifications as detailed by Brian here?
So moved, Dan Sullivan?
Second, Brian Croto.
All right, any questions? All right, Brian, you want to read the roll?
Steve Wolf on Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ian Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Liz Murphy, Fitchburg.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
Glenn Eaton, MRPC.
Yes.
George Kahali, Mart.
Yes.
Brian Croto, Subregion 1.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
Logan Bree, Subregion 3.
Yes.
Brian Keating, Subregion 4.
Yes.
All right. Thanks very much, and thanks everyone for contributing to the development of this step.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and good job, Brian. Thank you. All right, let's move to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 5, I believe. Nope, 6, which is the UPWP. I think we're looking to put it up for public comment. Brian, are you doing this or is Sherry on? I can't tell.
Yep, that'll be Sherry.
All right, Sherry, take it away.
Thanks. I'm taking over for the Brian show. All right, so let's start with the table of contents. Brian, can you pull that up? So as you know, we've been talking about the UPWP development over the past couple months at the MJTC and MPO meetings. We had hoped to release it for public comment period last month along with the tip, but we're still waiting for some final budget numbers from FTA, which thankfully we received a couple weeks ago. So in the past meetings, we had discussed the geographic equity and social demographic data as it relates to the proposed tasks. And then we went into a little bit more detail on some of the newer tasks that we plan to accomplish within the next fiscal year. The table of contents is just a nice recap of everything that's included in the document. This is not the table of contents, Brian.
Sorry, Sherry. I'll try to get it up. I didn't bring it up previously.
Oh, it's okay. Honestly, if you don't have it, it's fine. It's fine. But
all the tasks in the table of contents are listed here.
yeah, no, that's totally fine. I can just wing this. But basically, the table of contents, the only thing that's missing here on this screen is the what's put into the document before we get into the detail of all the tasks individually. But that's, what was that? Oh, so a lot of the information is things that describe what the MPO is, what the UPWP is, and things that MassDOT requires or requests to be in the document. And then it goes into all the individual tasks and their descriptions, the work that'll be done, the estimated schedule, and the budget. So now you can go back to the budget sheet, sorry. But now the budget document, this is our proposed budget for the next fiscal year. Yeah, there it goes, perfect. So as you can see at the total, the bottom right-hand corner is our total budget, which we have $1,024,683, and those are distributed into every single task. And the columns show 80%, like the first FHWA FTA column is 80% for the federal portion, and then the remaining 20% from MassDOT. So you can get a total budget for each task. I know we had discussed most of these tasks and how they're grouped into the 4 categories: the management and support, the highway surveillance, transportation plan, and then multimodal planning activities. I know we had mentioned some of the newer tasks, such as in section 3, like the corridor analysis, which is for the town of Shirley, the active transportation plan, which will be an update for our bike and ped plans, as well as a couple other different types of active transportation, and the Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan update, which will be a continuation of some of the work that we've been doing for the Safe Streets for All grant, and then the starting to work on the RTP, public outreach, and pulling that together, as well as a trail inventory update, and continuing efforts on future of mobility, helping with the newly established Regional Coordinating Council and Transportation Management Association with Chana 9. But if anybody has any questions on specific tasks, definitely reach out or let me know right now in this meeting, and we can go over that. But I know everybody should have the full draft document in their handouts. So if you do have specific questions on a particular task, you can go into that document and read the description. And if that still doesn't answer your question, definitely reach out to us. So what we're hoping to do today is to release the document for a 21-day public comment period, just like we just did for the tip, and then review those comments and hope to endorse at the next June MPO meeting. So
All right.
anybody has
Anyone have
any
any
questions?
Oh,
Oh,
sorry,
go
Greg.
ahead. No, it's okay.
Anyone have
I was
any
going to say the
questions for
same.
Sherry? Glenn?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chair. And really the question is really for you, Steve. So it's about language. It's about the new federal administration. It's about item 1.5, environmental justice. It's about item 3.2, climate change. I've received correspondence from federal agency or agencies that said we are no longer allowed to use those terms. For climate change, we have to use weather pattern change or weather pattern alteration. And EJ has been stripped out completely. The sister federal agency from DOT, the EPA, we can no longer. There are no EJ programs left. So how do we have to change the table of contents, and what's the new language, and can you provide any guidance? I see Brian has his hand up. Maybe he has an answer. So thank you all.
Hey, Brian, you want to answer first? I don't have any specific guidance yet. So, Brian, I'm sure you talked to Schuster about it. So,
Sure.
Brian,
Yeah, we have a regular group of MPOs statewide that discuss this issue. We've been working closely with Mass DOT as well, to a lesser extent, the federal agencies as well. Obviously, things are a little bit different. And I should mention that this handout we're looking at here, Glenn's referring to EJ in Title VI. We've actually changed this in the draft document. So I apologize. This title of this task is a little bit different. Same for 3.2. We've gotten rid of some references to so based on the current administration's preferences. The tasks themselves are roughly the same. And for additional context, this climate change and resiliency program, this is basically, and we look at the transportation infrastructure, and in our region, it really is analyzing the flood risks. We consider that climate change. It's changed to a infrastructure resiliency report. The environmental justice in Title VI. We can't get totally away from those references. It's based on previous federal requirements in the past, but we have changed language a little bit. I think in the draft document that we wish to release for public comment, you can see the EJ in Title VI remains. Barring any federal feedback or Mass DOT feedback or feedback from anyone else during the comment period, we'll see. We may change those references. In conversing with some of the other MPOs statewide and also regional in New England, we've been conversing with them as to what to do in terms of this. They haven't had any disparaging feedback at the federal level at this moment, but there's always a chance that we would come back and recommend amending some of this language. As we see it right now, we feel like it's appropriate to put out as is. Again, with the disclaimer that we may be reviewing some of the language that we use in the future, but really there's no answers right now. So I hope that kind of maybe adds a little bit more context, and that's all I got really.
thanks, Brian. And I know we've been having, to Glenn's question, I know we've been having these discussions. Obviously, with Innovation Conference, I was out of pocket for the beginning, late April, early May doing the conference. So, and I missed the last TMG meeting. So I think, Brian, what you detailed is what we're all doing now. And we'll just, this is going to evolve as we go forward. So, all right. Any other questions anyone has on the UPWP? All right. Anyone want to make a motion and a second to release for public comment?
So moved, Dan Sullivan.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. Thank you, George. All right. Any last questions? All right, Brian, you want to read the roll?
Okay, Steve Wolf of Mass DOT.
Yes.
Ann Sullivan, Mass DOT Highway.
Yes.
Liz Murphy, Fitchburg.
Yes.
Mark Pamarini, Leominster.
Yes.
Glenn Eaton, MRPC.
Yes.
George Kahali, Mart.
Yes.
Brian Croto, Subregion 1.
Yes.
Abby Arpano, Subregion 2.
Yes.
Logan Bree, Subregion 3.
Yes.
Brian Keating, Subregion 4.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. And this is a 21-day public comment. I think that we'll start that this coming Friday, May 23rd, and that'll last through Friday, June 13th. That'll give us an opportunity to discuss this with the JTC and come back at the June meeting, review the comments, and seek a motion to endorse. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Let's move on to the next agenda item, which I believe is agenda item 7. I know it's on the capital it's number 7 on the capital investment plan, and I know Michelle Scott is here, so I'll turn it over to Michelle.
Thank you, Steve, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members of the Montachusett MPO. My name is Michelle Scott. I'm the manager of capital planning for MassDOT, and thank you for the opportunity to present on our draft CIP. Could I get some sharing permissions and I can bring up my slide presentation? All right, looks like I have them now. Okay. Right, so this is our speaking today about our draft CIP and its relationship to the State Transportation Improvement Program and the work of the MPOs. So the capital investment plan that we produce at MassDOT is our rolling 5-year plan that funds the planning, construction, and capital maintenance of our transportation system. And so much like the STIP, this is a fiscally constrained plan, a little bit of a distinction from the STIP, and I'll be making some compare and contrast reflections on the STIP as we go along. But we are distinct. Instead of showing spending at the point of obligation, we show kind of spending for projects over time. We cover a variety of investment types, including roads and bridges, bicycle and pedestrian improvements, state-funded transit items, both for the MBTA and the RTAs, investments in our state rail network and public use airports, MassDOT's enterprise services, and capital assets for the Registry of Motor Vehicles. The diagram on the right-hand portion of the slide shows how we put the CIP together. It's influenced by major plans and Commonwealth policies and priorities. Key among these is Beyond Mobility, and I'll talk more about that plan as we go along in the presentation. These strategic areas inform the development of CIP investment programs, which capture projects either by a specific mode or project type, or sometimes oriented around a theme such as freight or resiliency. And all of the projects and investments included in these various programs are guided to achieve approved transportation.
Excuse me, Michelle.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone can see the. I can see the cover page of the presentation, but it doesn't look like.
Okay.
It's not advancing, yes.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
advancing.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know. All right. Did that bring up the new slide, or did that not work?
Yep. So we're on slide 2 now. Yes.
Yep.
Slide 2,
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah. It's not in presentation mode, but yeah, we can see slide
Okay.
2.
All right. Well, if folks can see it that way, I might continue in that format just to make sure everyone can see it. So this slide highlights our various funding sources within the CIP, including federal funds, both formula and discretionary, variety of state funding sources, including general obligation bond proceeds or state bond cap, funds for the Commonwealth Transportation Fund for various particular project types, including some CTF bonds that are supported by fair share surtax revenues. We're also supported by MassDOT's toll facilities and PAYGO capital funding that we can gather from those, as well as a variety of other municipal, local, and other third-party sources. So this slide highlights elements in the CIP with respect to their relationship to the STIP. So
it's not advancing, Michelle. You're still on slide 2.
All right. So I'll hang out on the funding sources here. Then I'll move to our slide covering the STIP. So hopefully folks can see the blue diagram in green and blue on the left shows the various components of the CIP. The items shown in green are those related to the STIP. They include federal funds for highway projects, both the federal dollars and the state match, and are inclusive of projects that are selected by MassDOT and MPOs and TPOs throughout Massachusetts, as well as federal transit funds that come direct to MassDOT and state matches, both for MassDOT funds as well as contributions to the RTAs. The items shown in blue are other elements within the CIP that fall outside of the STIP, such as investments in Chapter 90, state-funded items for the MBTA, et cetera. And then we have in the other diagram, components that are not in the CIP. These include federal funds that come direct to the MBTA and RTAs and other local entities. So this slide highlights, excuse me, is this showing a screen or is it actually showing the window?
I have it zoomed in, so it's a window.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a window, Michelle.
Okay, great. So this is showing the timeline that we follow each year for CIP development. Includes roughly a 9 to 10 month period, of which we're coming towards the tail end. One major feature of our process is that our Board of Directors at MassDOT approves the release of the draft CIP for public review and comment, as well as reviews and approves our final CIP following a public comment period. And one other item to note about this is the bars for each activity area are long, referencing the very iterative nature of the CIP development process, especially in terms of incorporating investments and understanding available revenues. So I alluded to Beyond Mobility, our statewide long-range transportation plan at the beginning of the presentation today. This is a key guiding force for our 26 to 30 CIP. The diagram on the right-hand portion of the slide highlights the major priority areas and cross-cutting themes within Beyond Mobility. As part of the process this year, we're working on making better connections to this plan, both in terms of explaining how CIP investments relate to these Beyond Mobility priority areas, as well as using these areas and action steps as a guide to thinking about how we approach new programs or size our existing programs to achieve the Beyond Mobility vision. So this slide here covers our spending within the draft CIP. The diagram on the right shows the spending by division. Overall, we have an approximately $18.6 billion plan. On the chart on the right shows spending by top 10 program areas for MassDOT within the CIP. Far and away, our largest CIP program is Bridge, but we cover a variety of modal areas ranging from roadway reconstruction projects for interchanges and major corridors to tunnels to bicycle and pedestrian investments, as well as Chapter 90 and the two mega projects, the Cape Cod Bridges and the Alston Multimodal Project. This slide is something of a digest of the highlights of different investments within the CIP and their relationships to Beyond Mobility. For example, we have $1 billion in Chapter 90 included within the CIP, supporting local transportation improvements that improve the quality of our system and then provide a better travel experience. We support reliability and more consistent travel times. With more than $6.7 billion in bridge investments and close to $1 billion in interstate and non-interstate paving to support state of good repair. We advance destination connectivity through various means, including more than $600 million in investments to expand our bicycle and pedestrian network. We provide and integrate resiliency through a variety of program areas, but have a dedicated program for culvert, dam, and flood control improvements. Again, safety, much like resiliency, is integrated throughout our CIP and its various programs. We have a number of particularly focused programs for safety, including our intersection improvements program, programs for systematic safety and vulnerable road users as well. And then to continue to support clean transportation and low and no carbon modes, we have, for example, $54 million in support for RTAs, for electric vehicles, and supporting infrastructure. As with prior CIPs, support for municipalities continues to be a major part of the investment that we're making. You can learn more about individual programs included in the CIP through the Grant Central portal, including program information and how to apply. The table on the right highlights spending in various areas within the CIP. Our largest program for local aid is Chapter 90, but we offer a variety of other local aid programs such as municipal pavement and small bridge, shared streets and spaces, etc. Take the opportunity to highlight some projects within the CIP that fall within the Montachusett region. This slide covers road and bridge highlights in particular. For example, the bridge replacement at Jackson Road in Harvard and Lancaster, as well as reconstruction of Route 68 in Templeton, among others. The CIP also includes projects in the Montachusett region that address items like climate and resiliency, active transportation, as well as our public use airports and the Montachusett RTA. This, of course, includes culvert replacement work happening in Leominster, as well as the Twin Cities Rail Trail construction in Fitchburg, and ongoing improvements at the Fitchburg Municipal Airport. So I'm pleased to announce shortly before this meeting was meeting with the Board of Directors, and we are approved to release our draft CIP for public review and comment. That draft document, which we expect to post likely tomorrow, will list information about how our CIP was put together, provide a detailed project listing, as well as detailed information about CIP investment programs. We offer this both as a standard document format as well as an interactive story map. And this initial version, when we bring it back for the final for our board, will also include an equity analysis covering the distribution of CIP investments. So just to speak a little bit about upcoming public engagement, between May 22nd and June 11th, we will be accepting comment on the draft CIP. To support that, we'll be hosting a number of public meetings. The map on the right portion of the slide highlights the regions that we'll cover, as well as the meeting dates. This meeting specific to Central Mass will be on June 2nd. One thing I want to note, these meetings are all virtual, and while we provide some project-specific highlights at each meeting that are tailored to the region that night, we do accept comment about any aspect of the CIP at any meeting, and so feel free to participate in whichever ones work best for your schedule. We also are giving a brief to legislators this coming Friday. Just want to note that we have opportunities to provide comment through letters, email, verbal testimony at the meetings, or through a public comment and project viewer that will be providing as part of our draft release. So I want to thank you very much for your attention today, and I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Any questions for Michelle? All right, I don't see any. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right, we'll now move over to agenda item 8, I believe, which is of the updates. Can we get the first update from D2?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Daryl Amaral. So for District 2 in fiscal year 2027, it's our first project. We have 612151. This is a Athol bridge replacement, Route 2A Main Street over the G&W Railroad. Design is at pre-25. Railroad agreements are signed and executed. Bridge type selection worksheet was submitted last year. Review comments were completed in early January. And the public information meeting was held in February. Next milestone is a 25% design submission, which is due on August 1st. Next we have in FY28 is 608415. This is the Athol intersection improvements at Route 2A and Brookside Road. The design is at 25% stage. A revised bridge type selection worksheet was completed. Comments were completed in February. 25% design submission was received on May 12th, just received, and the review comments are due on August 8th. Next, we have 613141. This is Athol Orange Bridge Replacement Project, Logan Road over the East Branch of the Tully River. Design is at pre-25. Alternatives analysis review was completed in January. Over-the-shoulder review meeting was held in February. And as of last week, designer is working on the hydraulic study. We're awaiting an updated project schedule and a 25% design submission. And that's all I have for now.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank
Anyone
you.
have any questions for Darrell? All right, seeing none. D3, Ann, this is you?
Yep.
right,
Okay.
David.
So focusing on FY 2025, the Hubbardston Bridge Replacement Project, 609187 Williamsville Road over the Burnshirt River. That project is at PS&E. The right-of-way cert has been issued. We're just awaiting the 404 permit. Sterling, project 610659, stormwater drainage improvements at Wachusett Reservoir on Route 110. That project is at PS&E. The right-of-way cert has also been issued and waiting for environmental permits 401 and 404. Gardner, 610672, Elm Street resurfacing and sidewalk improvements. This is a Safe Routes to School project that was advertised in March. The bids opened April 29th. Amarillo is the apparent low bidder, so just waiting for the award and NTP on that. We have a couple of AC projects, so projects that were advertised last year, and the funding is partially on 2025. So Leominster, Route 12, project 604499, Route 12, including rehabilitation of a bridge. So that NTP was issued to J.H. Lynch in December. That project is under construction. And then the Fitchburg-Leominster Twin City Rail Trail, which we just had the amendment on, 609411, where the funding was kind of pulled into the current year. That NTP was issued to ETNL in December, and that's under construction. On the Harvard project, that was on the 2025 TIP year, but was, again, with today's amendment, was amended off the TIP to switch the funding for the Twin City Rail Trail. That project is at 100%. The PS&E is due in July. And it will be on, it's under the new TIP will be on 2026, just kind of working towards getting the PS&E and right-of-way completed. And that's it for 2025.
All right, anyone have any questions for Ann? All right, thanks, Ann.
Yep.
We'll do the next update, which is transit. George, got anything?
No, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any new update. Thank you.
All right, we'll go to MJ, the JTC. Brian, got anything?
Yeah, just a few quick things. I just wanted to point out and mention that appointment forms for the Joint Transportation Committee went out a few weeks ago. And we reference the JTC all the time at the MPO, but just as a reminder, this is sort of the advisory group to the MPO. It's more or less a second level of eyes to review all this official MPO business, among other things. So the appointment forms went out to all mayors, select boards, and planning boards in the region. Also, we have a number of organizational members. We ask select boards and planning boards and the communities to each appoint one person to attend these meetings. In the cities, the mayors take the place of the select boards. They appoint somebody. Doesn't necessarily have to be a member of those boards or even a city or a town official, just somebody to represent those particular entities at this group. We asked for those back June 30th. Again, I sent these out a few weeks ago. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I try to help out. Also, we provided this to the JTC as well. There's some information here related to National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, permit quick guide. We felt this was a helpful quick guide. Basically, it highlights some of the changes and the other features of the 2024 general permit related to MS4s. A number of our communities are affected by this. There's some changes that have been topics of discussion at Worcester County Highway Association, among other things. I just want to point out and push along this information. There's a comment period that ends today. It might be in your best interest to make comments that will give you an opportunity to challenge our decisions moving forward. Again, this is just informational. I figured I'd give it to this group as well. Also, we have this self-assessment checklist we found helpful. Both of these things are available in the handouts. Next JTC meeting, that'll be June 11th at 2:30. We'll be reviewing the Unified Planning Work Program and any comments that we receive up to that date. We'll get some feedback for the MPO as well. And that's all I have.
All right. Anyone have any questions with Brian? All right. Seeing none. Thanks, Brian. All right. The last update is from the Regional Planning Commission. Glenn, you got anything?
Very quickly, Mr. Chairman, I'm definitely obligated to, for the record, inform the MPO that on April 24th, Federal DOT Secretary sent out a letter to federal transportation grantees. And just 4 quick points in the letter for people. It's a public document. If anybody wants it, I can send it out. But basically, as a grantee of federal funds for transportation planning purposes, we are informed that we will not discriminate in accordance with the civil rights law of the 60s. For the record, we don't. And I think that needs to be stated. And quite frankly, it's a little insulting that we get a letter to say, don't violate that law. MRPC has never violated. Eaton has never violated, and we will continue to comply. That should be stated. We are also not to implement diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI goals, which in the letter it says violates federal law. We are also not to interfere with any federal law enforcement agency, specifically U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, as they prosecute identification and removal of illegal immigrants and so on. And that specifically, if I get in an ICE officer's way, then I'm subject to civil or criminal penalties. In other words, they can slap me in handcuffs. And that, as we all know, adherence to federal law is, you comply with the federal laws or they'll pull your funding. So, we all got this letter. I don't know how many people know. You hear headlines, but this is a 4-page letter from the Secretary of DOT that says thou shalt comply. So I'm just documenting that we received it. Those are the highlights. If anybody wants it, I'm happy to send it up. Thank you for your time, Mr. Chair.
All right. Anyone have any questions?
Glenn, I'll just add that I did add this letter to the handout folder just like an hour ago. So if you're interested, and it went out to all federal recipients of funds. So, it wasn't targeted towards us. It's just, it went to everyone. So if you're interested, it's in the handouts as well.
All right. Any questions anyone has? All right. Let's move to the next agenda item, which is administrative matters, which is our next meeting, Brian.
That's June 18th at 1 o'clock. And we'll be discussing the UPWP comments. That'll be our official business as of now. Also, I want to thank everyone because we came real close to perfect attendance for signatories today. We're just missing one signatory, but that's very well attended today. So thank you all.
All right. So try to make sure you have June 18th on your calendar so we can endorse CPWP. And with that, can I get a motion and second to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 All right. Thank you, everyone. Good job, Ryan and your team. And everyone have a good Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.